Good morning, Roll Gang. It is time for a Fuck Yeah Friday episode of the Weekday Wake and Bake. It is your host, Processor Sky here, and I have a jam-packed episode full of cannabis news, some of the election results, and a power ranking of the top 10 prospect cities for upcoming adult use legislation. I did actually forget my list, so I am going to go ahead and grab it here on this lazy fuck yeah Friday. I am on my work weekend from my bud tending job, and I am just hanging out watching some conspiracy documentaries and smoking with the Roll Gangsters. Shout out to everybody tuning in on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. It is great to see you this beautiful, crispy November morning here in Las Vegas, Nevada, or wherever you may be consuming the show. Live here at 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon Eastern, or after the fact, wherever you consume the show on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. I am going to roll up my gelato here this morning while giving a shout out to the sponsors of the show. First and foremost, WWnB University is the only place to go if you want to learn about this amazing plant right here. The first ever cannabis college breaking down the endocannabinoid system and all of the different amazing aspects of this plant. Terpenes, how to grow it, how to sell it, cannabis business, compliance, you name it, you can learn it at WWnB University, the home of the first cannabis college and the place to go to boost your cannabis knowledge. Ooh, that's a pretty good rhyme. I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. Use promo code Rolling Spoon for 10% off your tuition at WWnB. So whenever you go and study, the Rolling Spoon can help you get 10% off. But that's not the only thing the Rolling Spoon is helpful for. It helps me to roll a dime every time with the Roll Gangsters on the Weekday Wake and Bake. I am going to roll myself up a nice joint of this gelato and scoop it out of my grinder with my Rolling Spoon Cannabis Multi-Tool while I dive into the latest and greatest in cannabis industry news. So we've got cannabis news from Arkansas, all over the United States. The election just occurred, and cannabis was in question in a lot of the country, in a lot of the states' elections. Boy, do I need my pot this morning. So first and foremost, we go to Arkansas. And Arkansas was a very potent place for the cannabis activism. I was actually completely shocked when I found out that Arkansas shot down the bill to legalize adult use cannabis because of such a strong activism presence in Arkansas this coming season. However, the leader of the most well-known activist group in Arkansas, Melissa Fultz, promises to bolster the campaign for 2024 and really push for legislation in Arkansas for 2024. So shout out the activists in Arkansas for being resilient and fighting the adversity, because, it's just a matter of time until cannabis is legal, globally, let alone here in the country. I think we're all going to live to see a world where cannabis is appreciated for the amazing, magical effects that it can have, not only on person to person, but as a community. It's such a community-based plant, and I believe that we'll live in a community that celebrates cannabis one day, similarly to the activists in Arkansas that's keeping their head down, chopping the wood until we get this plant the light that it deserves. Woo! I am excited to spark this up. We got some good cannabis news as well, Roll Gang. That's good news for sure that the activists are keeping the flow going for legislation in Arkansas, but there's actually some new legislation that's been passing here in the states, Roll Gang. First, we've got Missouri. So Missouri has officially passed adult use cannabis bill that will allow 21 adults, 21 years or over, to buy and consume cannabis in Missouri. So 2 days after they voted yes on adult use cannabis, the Missouri government released its preliminary regulations. They announced that they're going to license 192 dispensaries statewide, 62 grows, and 88 manufacturing facilities. Missouri is about to be a land potent in cannabis. The next one, Minnesota just hired a new governor, Tim Walz. And Tim Walz promised that cannabis bill will be one of the first bills to pass in 2023 under the new Democratic leadership. This is huge for Minnesota. They may not have jumped on the legislation movement for this voting cycle, but the new governor, Tim Walz, promises that this cannabis legislation bill will be on the ballot in early 2023 and really promises that it'll pass. It's about time Minnesota be smoking some herb. Yo, that was a fucking awful Minnesota accent. I'm sorry to whoever heard that. Yo, shout out Cali 420 Love in the building this morning. Good morning to Cali 420 Love and everybody else tuning in on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. I absolutely love Wake and Baking with you guys. Hope you guys are toking up. Let me know in the comments what you're smoking on this morning. I got a perfect joint of this gelato, rolled by my handy dandy rolling spoon, cannabis multi-tool. And your processor, of course. It's just my handy dandy multi-tool, my supporting role in my ritual. So the next piece of cannabis news is the final results of the last 3 states in which cannabis was a question on this past election. So both North and South Dakota sadly voted no on legalizing cannabis. However, another great state, Maryland, has voted yes. Which brings me straight into my next subject, the top 10 prospect cities of the newly legal cannabis states for adult use. I am so excited to break down the top 10 cities that legalized in the past 3 years, so since 2020. And I'm going to break down which ones are probably going to be popping with cannabis in the coming months or years. But before I get on into the power ranking of the top prospect cities in the cannabis industry, major shout out to the main educators in the cannabis industry. They've been doing it for 15 years. With all this new legislation and new movement in other states, Oaksterdam University holding it down in Oakland, California, the preliminary place to go to learn about cannabis plant. The first ever cannabis college to boost your cannabis knowledge. Use promo code Rolling Spoon for 10% off your tuition and go learn about how to grow cannabis in your very own home. As your processor takes a rip. Great to smoke with you guys. Cheers. Woo! This gelato hitting just right this morning. All right. Without further ado, we've got the top 10 prospect cities for the cannabis industry here in the United States. So basically, this is going to be the top 10 cities that legalized in the past 3 years for adult use. So 21 or older, and you can consume cannabis in these cities prospectively coming up. First and foremost is actually a county, a grouping of cities in Maryland, brand new legislation, Montgomery County. Major shout out to my cousin. We got the Sky Group spoon somewhere. I can definitely find it, but damn. Shout out to the Sky Group Realty Group in Montgomery County, out in Bethesda, Maryland, and Chevy Chase, holding it down. It is about to be an absolute green rush in Montgomery County. There's a lot of good prospective cannabis consumers in the area, and a little bit of change hanging around too. So shout out Bethesda and Chevy Chase, Maryland, and Montgomery County. About to be one of the most poppin' areas in the cannabis industry in the country. Coming in at number 9, Providence, Rhode Island. Rhode Island went adult use in 2022 as well, earlier on in the year, and Providence is going to be one of the most fun areas to consume, just probably not outside too much. There will probably be a lot of indoor hotboxing in Rhode Island. Next up, maybe a little low on this list, arguably, but I do live in Las Vegas, and there's nowhere like here. Atlantic City, New Jersey just went adult use. So just like Las Vegas, one of the other gambling capitals of the country is going to be a lot like Las Vegas, following suit, went adult use, and you are now going to be able to consume cannabis in AC. Next up on the list, the land of the arch, St. Louis, Missouri, just went cannabis legal 2 days ago, and Missouri already releasing their plans for releasing cultivations, dispensaries. So shout out St. Louis, Missouri. You are going to be smoking some pot underneath the arch soon. Number 6 on the list, one of my favorite cities personally on this list. I've been a couple of times and I absolutely love it. In Albuquerque, New Mexico. The staple of New Mexico, one of my favorite cultures I've ever stopped in and visited. It's kind of small town chic, but very progressive, and I'm super glad that people will be able to consume cannabis in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And down to the top 5. Quick recap of the top 10. We got Montgomery County, Providence, Rhode Island, Atlantic City, New Jersey. We got St. Louis, Missouri, and Albuquerque, New Mexico coming in first in the top 5. Number 5, Kansas City, Missouri side. So, this is another thing to talk about. You gotta think Kansas is next, because everybody in Kansas City is gonna be going to Missouri to buy their weed and then going back to their home in Kansas to consume it. Legally or illegally, it doesn't really matter. Kansas is gonna be losing all of those tax dollars to Missouri because Kansas City is going canna. And, the land of the Chiefs, going to be chiefing on some herb coming soon out near the stadium on Missouri side. Shout out Kansas City, Missouri, just legalized. Number 4, another newly legal state, land of the purple birds, Baltimore, Maryland. Oh, what a vibe. I've only been there one time, but it's a city on it's on a lake. It's a waterfront city right near DC, and I mean, honestly, just metropolitan and, still clean and chic. I absolutely loved my opportunity to visit Baltimore, Maryland, but another place with a very advanced culture and dynamic, Baltimore Ravens and newly legalized adult use cannabis. So number 3 on the list, on to the top 3, the biggest city in Virginia, which went legal for adult use in 2021, Virginia Beach. Yo, this is going to be an absolute mecca of cannabis. The environment is perfect for a little bit of outdoor growing, right by the beach. Lots of people and culture. The biggest city in Virginia, going to be a massive cannabis sesh coming soon. Number 2, the final 2, Phoenix, Arizona, where I was just at for my tennis competition. Phoenix went legal in 2020, and adult use cannabis is popping off. It's still super expensive. The dispensaries are way overpriced, but Phoenix area is going to be so lit. It's just down the road from us here in Las Vegas, another cannabis-friendly desert city right by Surprise, Arizona, where the you can tell I love NFL cities. The Arizona Cardinals, all these NFL cities going legal, and the NFL actually not testing for cannabis anymore. I mean, I think it's not far from a collaboration of the two. I wonder what percentage of the NFL cities are cannabis legal now. We got Baltimore, Kansas City, Phoenix, and number 1 on this list is a dual NFL city, 2 NFL teams, one of the meccas of the entire planet, globally known and recognized. In 2021 just went cannabis legal because honestly, they just lost control of it. New York City, the home of the New York City Diesel, the original strain. Cannabis has been a strong culture in New York City since long before it went legal. In 2021, the city finally said, fuck it, you're allowed to consume cannabis if you're over 21 and you're somewhere where smoking tobacco is legal. And honestly, probably in 5 years, cannabis mecca of the world. There are so many progressive people and mindsets there. Just so many people in general that there has to be so many progressive people just by sheer number, odds. And so cannabis is going to be on the forefront of that now. Newly released bills in 2021. The city still does not have legal sales, so lots of room for growth in New York City. But the number 1 prospect in the United States for cannabis, and these are all prospects because it's such a baby industry. They all went legal in the last 3 years, and honestly, super stoked to consume cannabis in all of them, hopefully. Major shout out to Chuck_XIX and Matt, my cousin Matt Pednato, popping in on the show. What's up, boys? It is great to see you this morning. I hope you guys had a great sesh, a great wake and bake whenever you're consuming this show. Such an awesome industry to be a part of. They say a high tide raises all ships. It was great to lay out the top 10 prospect cities with you guys in the newly legal cannabis markets, adult use around the country, and I am so excited to try and smoke pot in all of them. And I'll be smoking with you guys, Roll Gang, every weekday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon Eastern. You know where to find me: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. It is episode 200 today. Maybe I should have made a little bit bigger of a deal of it, but honestly, dropping episodes every day is kind of a little like, I just come on here and sesh with you guys. It's a good time, and I love chopping it up, and I wake and bake anyway. We have awoke, so now we have a smoke as per Stoner Law, but absolutely love coming on and seshing with you guys 200 weekdays in a row, and let's cheers for 200 more, Roll Gang. I love you so much. Shout out Oaksterdam University and the Rolling Spoon Cannabis Multi-Toll, sponsors of the show. Happy Fuck Yeah Friday. I will see you all for Motivational Monday on a new, fresh week of the Weekday Wake and Bakes. Enjoy your weekends, Roll Gang. Mwah!